Good evening, everyone. It is rather late in the evening, but damn it, I was gonna get a stream in because Jesus Christ, it's been just internet service provider hell. So, good evening. If I had been able to start on time, we'd be halfway through tonight's stream. I had two rolls of film to develop. While my internet was being a dick, I developed roll number one, and my internet came back just in time so that you'll at least see me develop one roll of film tonight. So, welcome on in. It has been an evening, people. So, ay ay ay. But here we are, and yeah. So I've already developed one roll of film. So if you've seen me do this before, then you know what I'm all about. But if you're not, well then hopefully you'll learn a thing or two. So, I am developing some medium format rolls tonight. I developed already a roll of 400 speed film, and now I'm going to develop a 100 speed roll. And they develop just the same. It develops just the same. But before I begin, I will talk to you about the chemicals that I use and everything that goes into doing this. Because normally, it takes about 40 minutes to develop one roll of film. But I'm going to show you all how it's all done. So does one develop film in the presence of light without a darkroom? Well, you need a way to get the film from the camera into one of these film development tanks. Hold on, let me just do something here. Whenever I'm doing a film developing stream, it means I wind up having only one monitor because I have to move my entire setup out here. So I just have to adjust accordingly. So, there we go. Cool. There we go. So, you need a way to get your film from the camera into here. And when the roll of film comes out, it's already wound up, it's already rewound. So you need to get your film from there into a light, tight film changing bag. And in that film changing bag goes several components. Now you see those components actually already in the sink behind me there, but I will take them out for purposes of demonstration. So, a film developing tank is made up of the following. It is made up of the tank, and in the tank we have a center plastic spool on which a plastic column on which a film loading spool goes onto. That goes into this developing tank, and on top of that goes a light, tight funnel. This one snaps into place, and you pour your chemicals in here throughout the process. And then it's the lid. So when you put your film in here, it all goes right there, and yeah, simple, easy as that. Well, I say simple because I've been doing it for 20 years, but this is getting your film on here is the hardest part. So, I'm actually going to give you a little quick demonstration on how all that happens in here, because the whole thing happens by touch. You have no light to help you in this. So I will show you how this gets done. And I'm going to do that by just doing a little quick rinse. I'll just rinse this off like so. Actually, I've got another one of these spools, so this one I haven't rinsed off yet, so let me just put y'all down for just a moment while actually, is my cord long enough? It is. I do love the USB headsets sometimes, so, yeah. So. And I'm going to get a piece of film here to demonstrate how this is all done. So, hold on a sec. Gonna grab some very, very expired film here for demonstration purposes. Okay, so normally, you would take all those components of the developing tank that I just showed you there, and you'd shove them into these bags along with film. So you shove it all in here, you zip it up, and on the other end of this bag, you have these these sleeves here that you would put in, like your arms through, like so. And there's elastic, tight elastic, that covers your arms to try to minimize any sort of light getting in. And you'd lie this out on a table, and you'd load your film onto this, and once it was all done, you'd put the spool through, and there you go. So I'll show you what this looks like in full light using a roll. Using a roll here that, again, it's expired, it's dead, I have no problem wasting it. So, your film, it's all rewound, it's all ready to go. So this is, again, imagine what I'm about to do is done in this bag completely by touch. So there'd be a little piece of adhesive there. So you'd be taking the film, you'd be taking this off by hand, and you'd be unfurling it in the bag until you found the actual film. And normally this would be all the way around. So I'm going to wind the film so that it actually is fully exposed. So that we start right at the beginning here. Okay, so you'd be feeling around, you'd be feeling this paper back until you got to the start of the film, which, there it is. And again, you'd be doing this completely in the dark. And then you'd take your spool, and you would try to find the little guides, which on this particular one, it's these little sort of teeth that are on either side of the spool here. Those are your guides. And so you'd take that film and you'd guide it you'd guide it so that it goes through these little guides. And because the film is curly, it wants to fight you. It wants to fight you so badly. So I would then just take this film and try to pull it through the teeth so that it looks like this. Get it. As I said, this part is the hardest part of the entire process. And you have to do this completely by touch. Line it up with the guides. There we go. There we go. Get them over those ball bearings so that they catch. Again, they will try to fight you every step of the way. Actually, you know what? I've got a better idea. This is why I typically don't use this type of spool. I use one that's got a larger guide. So this has more surface area. The teeth are wider. These are the types of spools that come with the developing tanks. I bought these extra. So, now watch me do this. That is much easier. Pull it through, and then you start to turn. Now, because this is still a little damp, it might not catch, but normally when you do this, you rotate one end of the film, and this film winds up all the way in here until you reach the end. Now, when you reach the end of the film, there's a little piece of Scotch tape right there. That holds the film to it. You have to undo that and then wind the film the rest of the way. Yes, it did, Anxious Doe. Exactly at the moment I finished developing my first roll. So then you would take the full roll. I'll have to do this demonstration again when I'm not being rushed for time. The roll is on the film. You put this on here. You put it in the tank. You put the funnel on it. You click it into place. You put the lid on. And you're ready to go. Now again, you have to do all of that by touch. And that takes a lot of practice. Fortunately, before the stream started, I did that ahead of time, and I've already developed one roll of film tonight, so you're going to see me watch the second one. So once the film is in the developing tank and you take it out of this film changing bag, you then have to get your chemicals ready. What chemicals do you use? Well, for black and white film, I use 5 chemicals, but the first 3 are the absolute required chemicals. And that is your developer, your stop bath, and your fixer. Developer does exactly what it says on the tin. It reacts with a light-sensitive silver on each exposure and draws out the latent image therein. Stop bath stops the developing process. Fixer removes any undeveloped silver and makes it so that the negatives can be taken out and exposed to the light without damage. It fixes the image to the celluloid. Once you've done those three chemicals, you then just let it rinse under running water for 15-20 minutes, and then you hang it up to dry and you're good to go. I use 2 additional chemicals after that to shorten that rinse time, Washade and Ilfotol. I'm going to explain what all those do as we go along. So, which role am I developing now? So the first role that I developed was Death. So this role is Life. This was from the maternity shoot I did earlier this month. So, and we're going to start that very soon. So, I shoot with Ilford film, so all the chemicals that I use are Ilford chemicals. You don't have to do that. It's not a requirement. The developer that I use is called Ilford ID11. This is not a paid advertisement. Ilford doesn't pay me to say that. But, you know, if they ever see this and they want to throw money at me for using their products, call me. Email me. I'll listen. Another common film developer that is used, that's the developer I used all through college and high school, it's Kodak D76. It'll do the job just fine. And there's a variety of stop baths, fixers, and other developing chemicals. So, yes, exactly. Not sponsored, but could be. But yeah, so Ilford ID11 is what I use. Stop bath is Ilford Ilfostop. It's stop bath. It stops the developing dead in its tracks. After that, I use Ilford Rapid Fixer. Again, fixes the image to the celluloid. And then after the final rinse, I use 2 additional chemicals. Washade. Washade removes any lingering residual fixer that is still hanging around on the negative. And what that does is that it shortens my final rinse time from about 20 minutes down to 5. And then the last thing I use, which is something called Ilfotol, which if you've seen me do film developing before, I compare it to Jet Dry, because that's kind of what it does. If you've ever seen me do that, and Twitch is telling me that there's an ad coming soon, so enjoy your capitalism. But if you are a subscriber, then you can, bypass the capitalism. Ilfotol is jet dry in the sense that it will not leave water spots on my film when it dries. So those are the chemicals that I use. And, the only thing left for me to do now is to actually develop the damn thing. The 1 roll of film that I have left for tonight. So let me just clear this stuff out of the way. Put these chemicals back so that I have a surface to work with. It absolutely is Anxious Doe. It is really, really frustrating. And so, it's, yeah. It's like also fingerprints. Oh yeah, I should get my water. Looks like we are just coming out of the ad break. Yep, we're just coming out of the ad break, so we are getting ready to start. But before I begin, just want to let you all know that, I've recently joined the ranks of Twitch affiliate, and so for those of you who subscribe, well, not only do you help me keep making art, because all money that I make on Twitch goes right into my photography. I have some new emotes to add to the pile for you. My good friend Glitching Icarus. I had them make me some new emotes. They are Pride emotes. So if you become a subscriber, you will have access to all the emotes, all 10 of my emotes, but the 4 new ones are down below. We've got the poly bee, the rain bee, the trans bee, and the bi bee. So my good friend Glitching Icarus did that. Also, you may notice that there are a couple of bars on the bottom of your screen there. Those are giveaway bars that will happen once they're filled. So if we get to 10 subscribers, I will be doing a print giveaway. I'll be giving away one of my photos. And the pins are 4 bits. They're cheers, and if we get to 2,000 bits, I will be doing an enamel pin giveaway. So, and those once they fill up, they will reset. And again, all money earned on my streams go right back to my photography. So you guys, it's one way for you guys to help me keep making art, keep making sure that I have supplies and whatnot. I figured you would, Anxious Doe. All right, enough blabbing. Let's get to the actual developing. So, all right, I am developing 100 speed film. It is Ilford Delta 100, and I just know this from memory that the developing time at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or 20 degrees Celsius, if you do not use American Freedom Units, I know that at that time it is 11 minutes. So I've had a thermometer sitting in my developer, and we are a little cool. We're about 66, which means that if we are colder than 68 degrees, then the development time will be longer. If it is warmer than 68, then the development time will be shorter. So I'm going to look that up. I just saw you. There we are. So at 66 degrees, I have to do a little conversion here. All right. If it is normally 11 minutes at 68, then at 66, all right, yeah, it's about another minute. Yeah, so the development time, instead of 11, it's going to be right around 12. So that's what we're going to do. So I am going to... Good day, Mr. Renzella. Welcome. Long time no see. About to develop second roll of film for the evening. So I'm going to start the timer, but when that gets down to 12 minutes, that's when developer is going to go in. But yes, how are you doing, my friend? I was just talking about the shiny new emotes that Glitching Icarus did for me for new subs. I'll put them in the chat again. Are the Pride Bees. All right. The first role that I developed, that was all dead things, and now this will be life. The role that I'm about to develop was shot that was for a maternity shoot. So you've got the full circle of life. Unfortunately, I did not stream my developing role number 1 this evening because my internet was being dumb, and it fixed itself as soon as I finished role number 1. So we're getting role number 2. All right. Let's open you up. And away we go. You're painting walls, you'll be lurking. All right, well, enjoy your lurk. Hopefully your wall painting is productive. Yes, we begin 30 seconds of constant agitation. And then it's agitation for 10 seconds at the top of every minute. Half a stream is still better than no stream. I think it's been a thing around in this area in recent weeks. I think I know that my internet service provider, they're currently in the middle of upgrading their entire cable broadband internet to fiber. And so they're getting close to bringing fiber up to my neck of the woods. So I'm guessing they've been doing work on the network between the hours of like 7:30 and 9. Yeah, so like 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I did my Twitch test, my server test, to make sure that I had enough bandwidth to stream. So that was an hour before I was supposed to go live, and it came back perfect. I have all the bandwidth I could possibly want, so I unplugged my PC and set it up in here, and got all my film set up and my chemicals set up, and a few minutes before 7:30, before I was due to go live, I run the Twitch test again, and all that bandwidth vanished. I had virtually no upload speed. And it was like that until about 9 o'clock. A little after 9 o'clock. But yeah, there's issues going on upstream. I think they're doing some work. Because unfortunately, I've been caught out like that the last couple of times. Like I wanted to do an art editing stream last week. Same issue. Like, it went down a little bit before 7:30 and then didn't come back up again until around 9. Like, downloads were fine, but I need upload for Twitch. And I was getting like 1 megabyte per second, 1 megabyte or if that. But download was fine. And, then I tried to do this and same thing, so. But again, at least you're going to get half a stream. I will be actually curious tomorrow to see what happens because I'm having company coming over. I'm having company coming over on Friday night. So I'm not going to be doing a stream on Friday night, and I might, if plans get canceled tomorrow evening, I'll do a Chrono Trigger stream, but I'm curious to see if, as it gets around 7:30, if my bandwidth just drops to almost 0 again and stays there until around 9. And if that's the case, I am going to have to adjust my stream days and my streaming, I have to adjust my streaming schedule temporarily. So the first step is the developer. After this, once the timing runs out, the developer will port down the sync. And then the stop bath will go in. Stop bath goes in for about a minute. It's very quick. Doesn't take much. Stop bath actually. So all my chemicals are clear, which can be a problem. That's why all of my my containers are labeled. I have developer fixer stop, so I know which one is which. Also, they're, with the exception of the fixer, they're all odorless. They're, with one exception to the color thing, and that is the stop bath. And the stop bath looks like this. It looks very much like that. If your urine is this color, drink up. The active ingredient in stop bath is citric acid, so. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, while they're doing upgrades to their their network, that just might be, they're out for an hour and a half to 2 hours from like 7 to 9 or something each night while they do updates or hydrate. But yeah, like, if that's going to be the case for a while, I don't know what I'm going to do as far as adjusting my stream schedule, because, like, 7 to 9, like that's right in like that sweet spot for me because I get home from work at 5:30. Yeah, I can't necessarily be starting my streams at 9 o'clock, particularly on a work night. So, I'll say. Y'all have an ad break coming up. Enjoy your capitalism. Unless you're a subscriber, then you skip those ads and you get to enjoy secret chat. Secret! The stuff that the non-subscribers don't get to hear, like, are you part of the Lale Lule Lo? Like, I feel like every time there's an ad break, I should be playing in the background the Secret Room theme from Battle Block Theater for those for my subscribers in the audience. All right, I'll take this stop bath and bring it over to the sink. Wah, wah. I realized that, speaking of Battle Block Theater, I realized that I have no other platform to play the game on because it's only available for PC. It's not available for consoles, except for the Xbox 360, and so it's like I have it on PC, and so I can't play it. I can't buy it for Switch. I can't buy it for PS5. So it's like if I want to play Battle Block Theater with fresh eyes, I would have to like delete my entire file. I'm like, no, I've unlocked too much shit. Alrighty. 12 minutes have elapsed. We're gonna dump. We're gonna dump out the developer. And we're going to pour in the stop bath to stop the developing right in its tracks. Stop it. Alright, we'll do this for about 15 or so agitations. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, a 10, an 11. I know the suspense is terrible. I hope it'll last. 14. All right, good there. Next up is Fixer. So, fun fact about Stop Bath. Because it is made, because the active ingredient is it's citric acid, it also means that it's the only one of my chemicals which, if it's sitting in one of these jugs for way too long, it will actually start to mildew. All right, Fixer is next. I have to smell it to make sure it smells like vinegar. Fixer goes in for 4 minutes. Actually, Fixer has a range. It's 2 to 5, so I usually kind of go right in the middle. So I usually go 4 minutes. And we treat it the same way we do Developer. It's constant agitation for the first 30 seconds. And then 10 seconds every top of the minute. It has no odor at all. So again, what Fixer is doing is that it is now removing any undeveloped silver. It is removing all remaining silver from the film so that what is left can be safely exposed to light. The only chemical in this entire process that actually has a distinct odor is the Fixer, and it smells like vinegar. So because Fixer removes any undeveloped silver from the film, it means is that the Fixer winds up having silver suspended in solution. And it means that if I were an industrial film developing lab, that silver is something that can be reclaimed. It can be drawn out of solution and can be collected and recycled. I do not develop anywhere near enough film to even gain any appreciable amount of silver, so but like when I used to work in photo labs at Walmart, the big huge Fujifilm film developing machines and print machines with photographic paper, they had silver. They had waste pipes, exhaust pipes for spent Fixer, and then at the end of the night, we would dump it into a silver reclamation unit, and once it filled, we would just send all that silver back to Kodak or Fuji or whatever for recycling. Color film does have some silver in it. Black and white has more. But yeah. And if I had a permanent darkroom, then I would take this fixer, this used fixer, and I'd use it in developing prints. But alas, I do not have a print darkroom, so this will be dumped. I used to know it, and I'd have to look this up again. Like how much film I would have to develop to gain like an ounce of silver, like anything appreciable, and the number was astronomical. It was a lot of film. Yes, a dark room as opposed to my very, very dark kitchen here. And we're just about done with the fixer. So the next step would be first rinse. Now, if you did not have the other two chemicals that I'm going to be using, the Washade and the Ilfotol, this would be the final step right here. You would dump your fixer, and you would just let this run underwater for about 20 minutes. But since I use Washade, we're going to have a first rinse of 1 minute. So the next chemical, as I said, is Washade. I think the Kodak version of this chemical, I think, is called PhotoFlow. I think that's the Kodak equivalent. I think it's what I used in college. But what it does is it removes residual fixer. Any fixture that's still hanging around on the film, and reduces the wash time down to the final rinse time down to 1 minute, to 5 minutes. Which is great if you're a college student and you're pressed for time. It's also great if you live in a place where you pay for water. I mean, I pay for water in this house, but it is a flat rate. It's a flat fee every 6 months. So, all right. Washade is next. Washade, also clear and odorless. This is where we get our arm workout. 2 minutes and 30 seconds of constant agitation. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's going to work out nicely because we have an ad break coming up in about 4 minutes, which will happen during the final rinse. So, it'll be great. No need for the gym when you are developing. You know, that sounds like something I could put on a t-shirt. I actually do have constant agitation merch on my Redbubble store. So. Constant agitation logo artwork done by another great friend and art streamer, Tiny Dragon on Fire. shit, when the hell did it get to be almost 10:30? Man. It's a work night. I should be going to bed now, but damn it, I was determined to do a stream, even if it was half-assed. Half-ass is better than no ass, I say. I got lucky that when my internet came back when it did, it was like right at the end of the first... I will tell you that in just a second, Anxious Stone. Because we are about to be done with the 2.5 minutes of Washade. And when Washade does its thing, it winds up looking a bit sudsy. And depending on how much residual fixer was left on the film, we could have a slight... We would have a slight purple tint to it, which you can't really see in a silver sink. All right. So let's shift that to final rinse, 5 minutes. So I chose bees, mostly because I really liked Icarus's original Chaos Bee that they did for me. Now the Chaos Bee came about. It was the result of was when I was streaming BioShock, and you have the bee plasmid, and Icarus very much loves bees, and so I asked them initially. You know, I want a Chaos Bee. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's keep the idea of the Chaos Bee, and let's do some Pride Bees with it. Now, Tiny Dragon on Fire did the Honka one for me there, and I want to see if I can do some Pride-themed ones of those. Because that was inspired by, of course, Wonka and Untitled Goose Game. You got an ad break coming up. Enjoy your capitalism. Unless you subscribe to me, then then it's still capitalism, but you're benefiting me, so, you know, I win. So, there is a T-shirt that some of you have probably seen me wear. The Untitled Goose Game Goose, but it's holding the Bi flag. I love wearing that shirt out in public because it gets me attention. It gets me so many comments because people love the goose. You know, again, like when I wore it for the first time in New York City, you know, that just it was a great conversation piece. I'll tell you that much. All right, we did. We did. All right, the last stage in all of this, we have a little bit more than a minute to go as you're all coming out of the ad break now. We got the last step in this process. I got to make sure I've got the right chemical for it. There it is. It's my Ilfotol. And again, if you missed my explanation of what it is, and or if you don't know what it is, Ilfotol, I compare it to Jet Dry. You know how if you have a dishwasher, you use Jet Dry to reduce the risk of water spots showing up on your dishes. Well, it's the same idea, except it's for film. It minimizes the appearance of water spots on my film as it dries, which is great because editing out water spots is a bitch. Water spots and fingerprints. Those are just absolutely horrible. Yes, Anxious Doe, get you some clothes that can do both, because I am positive that they exist. Alright, final rinse is done. And it can sit there for longer, it won't hurt it. While I get the gloves on, so. Da-da-da. All right. All right. All right, and since we're good here, we can have the tank open here. We pour just enough Ilfotol to just cover the spool here. And that just stays covered for about a minute. And then I am going to, when this is done, I'm going to take the film upstairs to hang, and I'll be back to wrap it all up. So, you know, short stream tonight, but, you know, again, you got half. You got half. You saw me develop 1 out of 2 rolls. And hopefully next week, if my internet service provider is not doing shit when I want to stream, there's going to be, you're going to see some film editing. All right. And there we are. So now let's dump this out and see what we get. We got the moment of truth. We find out if I've ruined the film or we have images. So here we go. We take it out of the spool. Take it out of its canister. We're going to unscrew. Let's see what we got. We have images. Although there appears to be some creases in the film. I'll have to see what those are all about. Probably because I did have to argue with this roll for a little bit to get it on the spool, so there might have been little creases in the emulsion. So either way, we'll see what that does for my editing. So I am gonna run upstairs. I'll be right back. Alrighty. But yeah, so when I was loading that film into this spool, before I was supposed to go live at 7:30, and this is something that can happen, because again, the film is so tightly wound and so curly. It fights you sometimes when you're loading it into the spool. Most of the time when I do that, it has no problem, but sometimes you just get a roll of film that, you know, as you're putting it through and as it's spinning in, it just decides, you know what? No, I'm going to jump the track. So if you look in, so as the film loads into this spool, it is guided along these grooves here so that it spirals in, and it makes it so that the film doesn't touch each other. Because I've had that happen. I've lost one or two rolls to that because the film was so uncooperative that it jumped one of those grooves during the loading in, and so you had film touching. And so this particular roll, as I was reeling it in, it got bunched up and jumped off the track, and I noticed that, so I had to unscrew the spool, start all over, and I had to do that 3 times. And the longer the film stays in this bag, your hands start to get sweaty. Yeah, it starts to get warm in there. So I think, as I noticed looking at that film, a couple of those images had they had black crescents, and those were places where the film crinkled up as I was loading it in. So we'll see if I'm able to edit those out. That's going to be an interesting challenge, because that hasn't happened in quite a while. Haven't had an uncooperative roll like that in a while, but you know, we'll see what happens. It's just a thing with film photography. But yeah, so that is basically it for me tonight. You got to see a roll. If my internet is behaving next week, you will see editing. I'm going to edit the roles that I developed tonight. If not, well then I'll still edit them, but you just won't see me you just won't see me edit them. So I'm at the whims of my internet service provider, apparently. So, but thank you for joining me this evening. Hope you enjoyed yourself. As always, stay healthy, stay safe. I'll see you guys again soon. But until then, good night and joy be with you all, everyone. Be well.